Welcome back to the Swearwolves. I'm Bret. Today's episode is 245, Field of Screams. In this episode, we talk about the 2011 film Husk that I found on a list of underrated horror films. I don't know. If you've seen this movie, maybe you think it's underrated. You'll hear our thoughts on it. Maybe we did. Maybe we think it's underrated as well. Spoiler alert. We don't. I also talk about my trip to Chiller Theater in Parsippany. Parsippany is a really fun word to say, by the way. Parsippany, New Jersey, and who I met there, autographs that I got, and the adventure that was. And then also we share a bit of news about the podcast, which I'm not going to go into detail here. I'll let you listen to that news. And then if you have any thoughts on that, you can leave some comments below, and I will, maybe the next time I upload a video, I will answer any questions or any thoughts or concerns or whatever. I'll answer all that in the next time that I record a video. So please do make a comment. But right now, you're listening to the Swearwolves. Right now, you're going to listen to episode 245, Field of Screams. Enjoy. Welcome back to the Swearwolves. I'm Bret.
I'm David.
David.
Yes, Bret.
How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I went to Chiller Theater last week.
That's right, you did.
And met some people. I gotta tell you this story. I kind of told you this story already, and you were like, "You gotta tell this on the podcast."
Yeah, I want to hear it in more detail.
I'll wait for you to get your pants off. Okay, so let me just go through the people that I met.
Yeah,
and kind of just give a brief summarization. All right, so Chiller Theater. It's in Parsippany, New Jersey.
That's fun to say.
Yeah, it is. It is fun to say. We drove out there in the morning. It was raining all fucking day. It just stopped raining like yesterday actually.
I feel like the last few shows you've gone to, it's rained.
Yes. No, every show I've gone to. Yeah. Every show I've gone to this year, it's rained.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. But so it was very wet that day and cold. And I just remember, like, I had this whole plan, like, because I have all these fucking tubes of posters, right? Yeah. And if I can put all the posters in one tube, but then I got to pull them out and, like, sort through them, and then I got to organize them and then roll them back up and stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to put, like I had Friday the 13th, 5 posters, right? Yours and mine.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to put them in this one tube, keep that in the car, go in with this tube that has the Scream posters.
Makes sense. Very strategic.
And then come back out to the car, go back and forth a couple of times. So that's what I did. But it was a pain in the ass because I had to go out in the rain. But, you know, whatever. First world problems. So speaking of Friday 13th Part 5, Richard Young was there. He was like the doctor. He was like kind of the head guy.
He like ran the camp or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Or the program.
Whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Him and Melanie
Kinnaman.
Thank you. Were the two ones in charge. So, and he was also Indiana Jones's like mentor.
I was gonna say, yeah, he's you lost today, kid. But that doesn't mean you have to like it. You gave him his hat.
He gave him his hat. He was a very quiet guy. He was an older gentleman now, obviously. Let me tell you something about Chiller Theater. So most conventions that you and I have gone to, in fact, all the conventions that you and I have gone to, you go up there and there's celebrities and they have handlers. You know, people helping them, taking their money, you know, just keeping them company, whatever. Sometimes they know the people, sometimes they don't know the people. It's just the way that
and they grab them lunch or whatever.
Exactly. But despite that, you still like have a pretty personable, depending on the person, interaction with the celebrity, right? Now, the celebrity sometimes takes the money. Like I remember the first time, probably every time I've met Bill Moseley.
Bill Moseley is always a one-man show. I feel like Tom Atkins is like that too sometimes.
Yeah, and they just kind of do their own thing, which is fine, right? Maybe they represent themselves,
right?
You know, no middleman, right? They don't have to like pay one of these management companies like 10% of their earnings or whatever.
Yeah, just keep it.
But still, you're interacting with them. At Chiller Theater, it's like the people that they have being the handlers are like, you talk to me, they come out, they like stand up, they come out from the table and they're like, yes, what would you like? What color would you like it in? Do you want it to be personalized? This, that, and the other thing. And it's like, this is usually the conversation I'm having with the person who's signing.
Yeah. At first I thought you meant like you have all the conversation with them. So like, oh, so where are you from? What do you do? Oh, what was your favorite movie that this person was in? You're like, oh,
no, not that. But it's like very like transactional.
Yeah.
And then they tell the celebrity, and it's like, motherfucker, like
I can do this. Like, I can tell them where they should sign and all that other kind of shit, but it's very transactional, which in some cases I'm like, okay, I get it. And in some cases, and some of them are more serious than others, right? Because you got this ones who are like, I'm taking this serious and you only talk to me and da 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 da. And then you got the ones who are like, yeah, $50. Okay, go ahead. I don't care what you do. I don't care what you say.
Whatever you want.
Yeah. So anyway, Richard Young, nice enough guy, taller than I thought he would be. Oh, and the other thing too is most all of them were charging extra for pictures.
Yeah, I feel like that's become more common, which I get it, especially if you got to like stand up, sit down all day. Like, I understand.
I guess I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, the old school people, they're just like, take a picture with me.
Yeah, like I don't give a fuck. Some of them are like, I'm not going to get up. You can come around the table if you want and crouch down here with me.
Yeah. So, anyway, but Richard Young, I think his came with a photo.
That's cool.
I was just like, yeah, and he's a cool guy, and I was like, yeah, I like that movie. Jim Doyle, not a lot of people probably know him. He's the special effects guy who made Freddy's glove.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
The original Nightmare on Elm Street, and he also played Freddy, like I think in the wall coming out.
Sequence. Over Nancy's bed, was it?
Yeah, and I think he was also the hand in the glove.
I think so too, in the tub.
Tub.
Yeah.
I don't think he said 2 words.
That was very.
And he was just
transactional.
a grizzled older guy, and also it was very hot in there. You know how like these convention halls are, very smelly, very hot. Especially when it's humid outside. And
was it just a stew of aroma?
It was brutal.
Oh.
I will say this about Chiller Theater. They had it was more well organized, or at least the venue was more well organized than like the Monster Mania venues. The Monster Mania venues are just shit venues. I've determined. It's not Monster Mania's fault. It's the venues.
Yeah.
So I guess in a sense it is their fault. They should change their venues. But and they just sent me information on who the Monster Mania guests are, and they're having Kiefer Sutherland, Jason Patrick.
Oh, that's cool.
And one of the other
doing the Lost Boys
guys.
Reunion kind of thing. That's
awesome.
awesome.
And my wife is like, "Oh, did you see that?" I'm like, "I'm not going. I'm not going. I'm not going to see fucking Kiefer."
That could be cool.
Lisa Fuller from Monster Squad, met her. Super nice. Here is the strange little dance that I had to do on this one. So to her right was I forget his name. I can see his face. He's the guy, DeCostas. He was in like the Crow sequel.
Oh yeah. I know the guy you're talking about.
Mark DeCostas, I believe his name is. He was also he's also on Iron Chef America. He's like the a la cuisine. But anyway, he's on one side, and he had a ship ton of people in his line, and I'm like, really?
Huh,
Like,
I would not have guessed that.
I don't know. He must be in something else too that I'm not aware of. And Chiller Theater's like guest list is all over the place.
It really is. Like you got TV people, like musicians,
potpourri. Yeah,
and all sorts of genres.
All sorts of genres. And then to the left of him, was somebody else that people wanted to see. What's his name? Tim Matheson.
Oh, okay.
From Animal House and other stuff too. But those people had long lines. And so I see people waiting there, and I didn't know if they were in her line. And I was like, who are you in line for? Because I thought that was kind of odd. No offense to
she hasn't done
Lisa
a whole
Fuller. No. But I was like, well, maybe people are into the fucking Teen Witch. I don't know. So I asked, and they're like, no, this is Mark DeCostas' line. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You know, this was only the second convention she's ever done. Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Wow. So my Monster Squad poster is a rarity with her signature.
It is a rarity. And she loved the poster. In fact, my son, who was standing there with me, overheard somebody in the line next to us being like, oh, look at that Monster Squad poster. And they took a picture of the poster.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that poster's pretty awesome. I've got a lot of signatures on that one.
And Jason Hervey, who signed it.
Yeah.
Wayne from the Wonder Years, for those of you who don't know. But Jason Hervey was like the bully. Yeah, he was the bully, of course, because he is a fucking... He always played those characters.
I'm sure he's a really nice guy in real life. But yeah, he always played the same kind of parts.
Super nice. The shitty thing... let me wrap up Lisa Fuller. She was like so happy to talk to us. Took pictures with both me and my son. She goes, let's do pictures. Do both of you want pictures? And I was like, sure, I guess. She's like, okay, come on over. And so she took pictures with both of us. She told me a little anecdote about how the kid who I forget all the characters in Monster Squad.
What their names are.
Ryan Lambert.
Oh yeah.
So that actor, he had like a little bit of a crush on her during the filming.
I'm sure.
Of course
He did.
But he made her a mixtape. I didn't ask her what was on it. I should have asked her what was on it. I don't even know if she would remember.
Does she still have
that
it?
movie was like damn near 40 years ago,
Yeah.
right? But
That's awesome.
She said it was a lot of fun to film. She said when at the end when all the wind is like blowing and there's that whole big battle.
Oh, yeah.
She was wearing a skirt and like all these like all this brush and like leaves and stuff were just pelting her legs.
Oh, that sucks.
And she even had like nylons on and she was still getting scars and stuff like that on there. But she said she enjoyed that movie. And then Jason Hervey, like I said, signed it. And the weird thing about this is the guys in front of me were one of those consignment guys.
Oh, so they had like a stack of shit to sign?
They had a stack and they were just, talk about being transactional. They were just flipping through them and they were like, sign here, sign here, sign here, sign here. And it's like, fuck. And then they came back behind me with more.
Jesus.
So I was sandwiched in between them and I said to him, I go, I only got one thing. And he's like, oh, that's cool. And then I pulled it out and he's like, yes. And so he signed it and it
Awesome.
said like, hey, he said like, hey, fat kid. He goes, he goes, I wrote, hey, fat kid. And I go, that's cool. I go, I've been called worse. And he just kind of laughed, but he took a picture with me. I was like, I paid for that picture because I was like,
that's a cool
so
one.
I didn't charge you for that. I wasn't going to charge you for the picture anyway, but I was like, I think I'm going to get this picture with him just because he's Jason Hervey.
Yeah, I would have done that.
Kind
too.
of one of those actors that I grew up with,
Right.
You know, but really short.
Yeah, I was surprised in the photo that you showed me. I was like, oh wow, yeah, I would have guessed him taller.
I've also grown 7 inches in my pants. Okay. Hannah Hall.
From Rob Zombie's Halloween and Forrest Gump.
Yeah, Forrest Gump. Oh God, please make me a bird and fly far, far, far away from here. She's really, really cool. It was kind of awkward, but still kind of cool. Like she had just come back from a break. She was eating a muffin, like a banana nut muffin. I was like, I'm sorry for taking you away from your muffin. She's like, no problems whatsoever. She's like wiping her hands on your poster, but she signed it. I just said, oh, thank you. You know, but right next to her was the lead singer of Living Colour.
Oh, Corey Glover? That's cool.
Corey Glover was right next to her. Nobody was at his line.
Oh, man. I was even thinking about that. If I would have gone to that show, I would have brought like a Living Colour LP, have him sign that shit.
He looked good. He's just got gray hair.
Okay.
But he looked the same.
Awesome.
And he was in like Platoon or some shit.
Yeah, he's done some acting.
Yeah. So, yeah, he was there. Okay, so anyway, Scream.
Yeah.
This is the story that I'm going to tell.
Oh, I thought you were instructing me to scream.
So everybody knows we have our Scream one sheets, and our Scream one sheets are getting high praise.
They're badass.
Mind you.
You got a lot of signatures.
And by the way, both of ours are different. Same signatures, except for yours has Henry Winkler. Mine will soon. But yours, I did, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Get that order to go through.
Cool.
So anyway, yours is all black except for one in silver.
I think I got, maybe 2 in silver that are like in black areas on the poster.
Yeah. And mine is all sorts of shit. Some of them are in pink. One's in like red. I think Jamie Kennedy started that because he signed his in red.
Yeah.
And then
Nev Campbell's pink on yours. I think you got some silver too.
Yep. Leonora Shelfo, who plays the cheerleader in the bathroom, she signed in blue. It looks cool.
Cool.
And she was like, I love this poster. This your poster looks really good. But my wife was the one handling my poster. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you what, they treat women a lot differently than they treat guys. Very, very much nicer to females. I don't blame them.
Yeah, I get it.
But I was
Men are
like,
gross.
from now on, she's going with the posters and getting them signed. But anyway, she was nice. I mean, they weren't not nice to me. She was just fine. But
She can call your mom a slut. Maybe she's a slut. It's like her mother.
And I was like, oh yeah, well, probably my mom. Anyway,
prolific is the word, Brett.
Nancy Ann Ritter played Bubble Butt boyfriend Billy, that character. I believe the name of her character is Girl in Bathroom. But I like to tell her I like the bubble butt boyfriend Billy, and I even told her I was like, we quote that all the time, and I laugh, and she's like, I love that line, and I was like, we do too, and we were just laughing, and she was like, and I was like, and my wife here, she's saying how Skeet Ulrich doesn't even have a bubble butt. She goes, I know he doesn't have a bubble butt. Anyway, she's signing posters. You had the 2, and then I had the 1, and she's signing this, and I look down, and I'm like, well, I've now seen Bubble Butt Boyfriend's boobie, because Bubble Butt Boyfriend Billy's boobie, she was not wearing a brassiere.
Oh, dear.
And she had a button-up shirt that wasn't buttoned up all the way. And so when she was bending over, like, there it was.
There was the tit.
And I was like...
You weren't looking for it, but it was looking for you.
It saw me. And I didn't say anything, obviously, because what are you going to say?
Yeah, you'd be like, hey, can you sign in this areola area over here on the poster, please?
It was nipple to meet you. I mean, nice to meet you. And part of me, and the dad part, the husband part, wants to go, hey, excuse me, I just want to tell you that, like, as the day goes on, you might want to just button that up, because there's going to be some creepazoids out here who are going to be like, oh. But then the part of me who is like, wait, I don't know this woman. She might think I'm a fucking creepazoid if I say something. So then that part of me goes, well, maybe I should tell my wife, and my wife could say something to her. And then I'm like,
she's like, don't put that shit on me.
Yeah, but then I don't want to embarrass anybody, right?
Right.
So I'm like, fuck it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said anything.
It's a boob. Like, I don't give a shit. So that happened, and so I get all the posters up, and we're walking outside, but I didn't say anything to anybody. I didn't say anything to my wife. I didn't say anything to anybody. So my wife and daughter are like, we're gonna go do this, and my son and I were like, okay, we're gonna take these posters out, grab some more posters. So we go outside, and we're walking outside, and about halfway to the car, and all of a sudden my son turns to me and he goes, Dad, I don't want to be mean or anything. And I was like, what? He goes, that girl, the bubble butt boyfriend girl. And I was like, yeah. He goes, she was really nice. She like gave us all a hug.
Oh, cool.
She was super nice. He goes, she was very nice, but I saw her boob. And I go, so did I. And then
That's
so
awesome.
we got in the car later, and then I told my wife the story. And my wife's like, what? And then my daughter goes, yeah, I saw it too.
I saw that titty as well.
My wife's like, what did it look like? Was it a nice boob? And I'm like, it was a boob. I don't know. I mean, I do know what nice boobs look like, but I wasn't going to sit there and like, I didn't go
memorize it. Yeah.
What are the contours of it?
It didn't imprint on you?
No. So that was my boob story. So, Nancy Ann Ritter, I mean, I guess if anybody's listening to this who's ever going to see her, just don't embarrass her about it. It's just a boob.
Yeah,
who cares?
exactly.
Maybe she's like, this is how I get more autographs to sign. I just like flash a titty here and there. People come over from all over the place. My daughter and my wife were actually, when my son and I went outside, they went to go meet Priscilla Presley.
That's right. I think the last time we spoke, you said your daughter was thinking about it. So she did it?
Yeah, she did it.
That's cool.
She got her picture taken with her. They said she was really nice, but that woman has to deal with a lot of bullshit. First of all, she's got like security guards around her. Right?
I would think so.
But second of all, it's because of all the fucking douchebags that are in her line dressed up as fucking Fat Elvis. And they're like, oh, and one guy's like live blogging. He's like, I'm gonna ask Scylla here on a date, blah, 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 blah. And my daughter and my wife are just like, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah. It's like, come on, man. It's like, oh, she's never heard that one before. And you know, not to
also,
mention
she's a
that
human being. Like, come on, man. Like, that's just poor taste.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, at $100 a pop,
Yeah.
I'd put up with.
I'd put up a lot of bullshit for that kind of money.
Yeah. But you know, after a while, she's just kind of like disinterested. So
yeah,
I think
you grow numb
like,
to it.
She's just kind of very, again, transactional. Like, boom, boom. Let's just get over this. All right. So my wife recently watched The Sopranos.
Oh, she went all the way through?
Started at the beginning and made it all the way through a couple months. She would watch multiple episodes a day. Like as she's working, she'd have it on.
Yeah.
She'd be doing her work and stuff. And she finished the show and she fucking loved it.
It's a good
of
show.
course, right? It's the fucking
great.
Sopranos. And I watched it when it was live, when it was like on the air.
Yeah.
I got in on season 3.
Okay.
And then went back and watched 1 and 2, and then I was caught up. So she just watched it all. She loved it. Now at this show, Jamie Lynn Sigler, who played Meadow Soprano, Robert Eiler, who played Anthony Jr., and Drea De Matteo, who played what the fuck is her name?
I can't remember.
Christopher Moltisanti's girlfriend. Oh God, I can't believe I'm having a brain fart right now. She played this character. It was like a major character.
Yeah.
And my brain synapses aren't firing. So whoever's listening to this right now is going, it's fucking Adriana. Thank you for yelling.
Thank you
for yelling.
Mystery person who yelled that.
She played Adriana. So those 3 people were there. So my wife is like, I got to meet them. And I'm telling you, David, I've never seen this woman so nervous. Our wedding day, by the way, she wasn't this nervous. She was fucking...
With all of them?
Almost in tears. No, just at the thought of meeting them.
Wow.
She goes, I don't know why I'm acting like this. And I go, well, you really like the show. She goes, I can't believe I'm meeting them. So she wanted me to go with her. Well, she met them. And so I did. Jamie Lynn Sigler, they were all super nice.
Yeah.
Jamie Lynn Sigler was there. Get her autograph, talk to her real quick, get a picture taken with her. Robert Eiler is next. And I'm kind of standing back, just letting her have her moment with them, right? Mm-hmm. And nobody was at their tables when we showed up, at least for like about 5 minutes, right? So we kind of had them to ourselves. But she moved on to Robert Eiler, and I'm standing there, and Jamie Lynn Sigler's kind of just watching and listening to the conversation because their tables were right next to each other. Mm-hmm. And they're kind of like high pub tables that they were at.
Okay. She's
just kind of smiling while she's listening because they were talking. Like he was like just having a conversation with her.
Neat.
And so I see that, and I had just met Jamie Lynn Sigler, right? So I walked up to her and I go, this just made her day. I go, she just finished the show. I go, I watched it when it was on, but she like just marathoned it. She goes, oh, so it's just fresh in her head. And I go, yeah. And she was super nervous to meet you today. And she's like, oh no, she did great. I couldn't tell that she was nervous. So I had a little moment with her, and then Robert Eiler was like, is this your husband? And she was like, yeah. And so she
was like, nope. I don't know who this is.
So
what
he was like, "Oh,
tonight?
Nice to meet you. My name's Rob." And I was like, "Oh, nice to meet you." And then they were then more people started coming, so they were trying to push us through. These handlers were, and so he's like, "Well, let's take a picture real quick." So they took a picture together, and he's like, "Do you want to get in a picture with me?" And I was like, "No, it's okay," because they were trying to push us through. I should have gotten in the picture with him because I got in the picture with fucking Meadow. I should have gotten in the picture with him, but I was like, "No, it's okay. This is her moment and everything." And so then we went to Drea De Matteo, and my wife gets her nails done. Like, my wife is very
your wife's nails are awesome.
She goes to great lengths to get these things done. And she walked up there, and Drea De Matteo is like, typical. Like, it sounded exactly like this, New Jersey. She's like, Ma, Ron, let me look at those nails. And she's like, sitting there looking at her nails and stuff. And then she was like, she's like, does she scratch your back with these nails? And I was like, yeah. She goes, does she scratch her eyes out with these nails? And I go, well, if I don't keep in line, she does. And so they had a little moment with that, and I don't know, they were just really nice.
That's cool.
After that, we were done meeting the celebrities, so we tried to walk around and look at the booths. They had some really cool booths. It was just so jam packed, and from doing these shows, Saturday's usually the busiest fucking
Very
day.
busy. Yeah.
And Saturday midday.
Yeah, lots of traffic jams.
Yep. So we were just like, all right, I'm done. So we left.
Yeah.
But all in all, Chiller Theater, I give it thumbs up. I would definitely go back again because, like I said, they have just a vast array of.
I was jealous. Yeah, that lineup was ridiculous.
Yeah, and they've had better lineups than that.
Yeah.
In the past, which those hard to find.
Yeah, I love the variety.
Like Richard Young, well, Lisa Fuller, for instance. This is only her second show, but Richard Young, you don't see him going to a lot of these shows.
Right. Yeah. I'm glad you had a good time.
Yeah. David.
Bret.
I have something to say.
Yeah?
And it's weird. It's weird that this is going to be probably one of the hardest things in recent time.
Yeah.
One of the hardest things I've had to do. But to the audience, David and I have already had this conversation.
We have.
To the audience. Well, I hope so. Otherwise, it'd be pretty
super awkward.
All good things, as they say, must come to an end. And for the past 5 years, David and I have been producing a weekly podcast, which started out for us as a way to get together on a weekly basis and just, share our love for horror, from movies to games to television shows, action figures, conventions, where we were just fans. And we were friendly, but this, I think, forged our friendship, and we became better friends. You're one of my best friends.
Seems easy.
And we did this just because we liked to make each other laugh, and we liked to just talk shit.
Yeah, still
to
do.
each other. That never changed, actually. That hasn't changed. In nearly 250 episodes, I believe this is 245, this
I think
episode?
so, yeah.
So in nearly 250 episodes, that's almost 5 years.
It's a lot of laughs. A lot of dick jokes.
A lot of dick jokes, a lot of fart jokes. And we still enjoy talking to one another. We still enjoy making each other laugh, and we still enjoy sharing our love for horror. We send each other our posters, and, when we can, I mean, I live where I live now, you live where you've always lived. When we can, we still love getting together and going to conventions.
Yeah.
And we've gone through a lot of changes over the past 5 years. We started out with 3 hosts.
Then there were 2.
And then there were 2. And we started out doing 3 movies a week. Then we did 2.
And then
we did
2.
1. And we've gone through COVID.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Our mascot, Icky,
Aww.
passed away.
That's right.
But we dealt with it. I was in the hospital with some mystery fucking disease. Dealt with us. I moved to the other side of the fucking country. We dealt with it. And throughout all of that, we never missed an episode.
Yeah,
which I
it's
think
crazy.
is a testament to you could say what you want about our fucking podcast, but you cannot say that we aren't dependable when it comes to posting
Getting shit done.
the podcast online and for people to listen to. And that I'm going to give credit where credit's due. That is all me. But no, that's all David. And David's been the one who's edited the audio on our podcast from day one. And we've also met a lot of people. Some people we've met in person, and some people we've met online. And we've forged friendships with those people. And I hope those friendships continue.
Oh, yeah, they will.
Whether we ever meet them in person or not, I hope we'll still be friends with those people. But there's always a but. And there's a big one.
Big booty. Big old bubble butt.
After 5 years, and I'm talking as Bret right now. This isn't on for David. David can speak his piece when I'm done. After 5 years, for me, it's gotten to be a little too much. And life gets in the way. And to be honest, I sometimes don't even enjoy watching the movies anymore. And it's not that I don't enjoy horror.
Yeah.
It's that it's become...
Like a chore.
It's become a chore.
Yeah, I get it.
It's become more of a job.
I feel that way with some movies.
It's become more of a job. And it's a job that doesn't pay well, mind you.
It does not. I've crunched the numbers.
The sad thing for me, I think, to get a little bit... I hope this isn't too awkward, but the sad thing for me is that David, as I said, has become one of my best friends, and I moved far away from everybody that I knew, my family, all my friends that I had in Arizona, and this podcast was the only thing that I knew that I was going to talk to my friend.
Yeah.
So it gave me
There's a lifeline.
an excuse
Right.
to like have a friend, because to be honest with you, I've been here for not even quite a year, but I don't have friends out here.
Yeah.
Like, do you know how hard it is to make friends as an old person?
It's hard as an adult and in a small town. I can't even imagine.
Yes, exactly.
But it is weird. I get you. Like, all my friends are, like, you are probably, like, my newest friend. Like, everyone else are people, like, grade school.
You've known since high school.
Like, yeah. We're their friends because they had to be.
Yeah. Like our friend Mike, the Arizona Mike, you've known him since you're
High
a little
school.
kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joey, who was on one of our episodes, or what was that? Nightmare on Elm Street 2, that episode? I've known Joey since,
Yeah.
I think, first grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, nuts.
This was my friend time.
Aw.
But that to me is not a reason to keep going.
We can still be friends.
If my heart's not into it, then it's just not into it. And I'll probably miss this more than I'm thinking I'll miss it in my head.
Yeah.
And I'll probably
Maybe that'll be a good thing.
But something will happen. I'll probably be like, oh, I got to talk about that on the podcast.
And you go, fuck.
And I'll be like, oh, fuck.
You just walk around with a microphone that's not even plugged in. Just pretend.
Yeah, or just call you and we don't even record.
Yeah, that's true.
And we're not getting any younger. Listen, I'm not saying that podcasting is a young man's game, but also everybody in the world has a fucking podcast now. Not that there weren't a lot of podcasts 5 years ago, but there's like triple the amount now.
There's an awful lot.
But we're not young people anymore. And we also have families. We also have lives. We have things that we want to do outside of, oh God, I got to watch fucking Husk. It was the movie that I picked this week. Don't ask me why. And
I intend to.
it's like, oh, I got to fucking watch this movie.
Yeah.
I got to put aside an hour and a half to 2 hours of my life to watch this movie. And then another hour and a half to 2 hours of my life to talk about this fucking movie.
Yeah. And then for me, another 2 or 3 hours of editing.
Yeah. And that's the whole reason why I cut out the video portions. Cause I'm like, I can't fucking do this on top of that.
It's a lot. Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's like having a part-time job on top of
is.
having an actual real job.
And there's other things that I want to focus on now too, outside of the podcast.
Yeah. Get your hand modeling career. Get that going. Hollywood butt double.
Bubble butt double. But I want to say this, and then David, I'll pass it over to you if you want to add anything. The thing that I'll say is that this isn't goodbye forever. It's just goodbye for now.
And even then, it's not quite goodbye.
No, it's not quite goodbye because David, you can pick that up.
This is not the last episode, if you were wondering. So we're gonna go. This is episode 245. We're gonna go to 250. So after this, you got 5 more weeks of us talking about whatever bullshit movies we're watching that week. Although we might be a little more selective. We might cram a couple per episode just to like get some movies that we want to talk about. But yeah, and then at 250, I think the plan is hitting the pause button. How long the pause button is hit, or maybe it's the stop button. I don't know. But we'll stop there and take some time off. And if we're feeling froggy, maybe we come back, and maybe we don't.
Yes. And I'm certain that you'll still post stuff on Twitter.
No, I'm deleting my account immediately. Yeah, I'll keep that going.
And I'm going to still post stuff on Instagram. And I'll still check our Swearwolves Instagram because I think I still want to keep in touch with people, obviously, and, be quote unquote relevant, I guess. Not that we're relevant right now.
We're very relevant.
So that's that. We did contemplate just ending it and just coming on, not even like giving any warning to anyone.
And just when the last episode 250 ends, it's like, see ya. Not even say anything. Just next week, you're like, oh, where's 251? Like, oh, they must be a day behind.
Yeah.
Well, they must be a week behind.
We thought out of, I don't know, our need to be liked, that we should tell people that we're going to be ending it. So you got 5 more episodes after this one.
You got time to process it.
Yeah, I know it's going to be hard, guys. We'll get through this.
The other thing too is we'll try, we talked about this a little bit before we started recording. We'll try to do, if we can, make the next 5 episodes happen weekly. I've got a ton of travel coming up, so we talked about how we've never missed a week. We might. We'll see how those last 5 episodes go, but if one gets missed, I will post something about it online, so we'll let you know what's going on. But hopefully we can get them out. I think that would put the last episode right around like June 19th. Oh, and we'll keep all of the episodes online, so whatever platform you're listening to us on, we'll continue having that hosted, so you still can go back and listen to old episodes. And then if that ever changes, I will warn you well in advance. So if you want to
and then I'm also going back and putting all the old episodes on our YouTube channel.
Oh yeah,
because that's free to host, And I thought, well, fuck, I better start doing that. So they're all going to be on somewhere at some point in time. Yeah. Everything will be done. For those of you who've listened to every episode multiple times, you can still do that. Go right ahead.
Yeah, and thank you.
And thank you. That being said, David, do you have anything more to say?
No, just that it's been a lot of fun. This is like my favorite part of most weeks. Getting together and some weeks.
We're taking this away from you.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. So it's going to be a bit of a bummer, but I too, like you, am looking forward to what that will bring as far as opportunity goes. Like this is very time consuming. So I was talking to my wife about it last night and she's like, what the hell are you going to do with all your time? And I was like, probably bother you. I don't know. Because like one thing about me, and you know this about me, Brett, and I think we're both kind of wired the same way. Like I always need some sort of creative outlet. So whether that is doing this or building something or music, I've got to have something. So this, with the time that this will no longer be taking up, it'll give me time to indulge some other projects and stuff. So
well, you can start by reading my screenplay that I sent to you.
I still got to read that. What if I was like, I read it, it's shit.
I've been writing.
I will do that. I need to do that.
That's kind of what I've been doing. I finished a screenplay. I have another one that I'm already working on.
Oh, nice.
I know I haven't even like totally finished the one that I sent to David, but I've been waiting for his reply, and I'm like, well, he hasn't read it yet, so
I'll never reply.
No,
I will do that. Yeah, and I got a couple of potential music projects cooking, so that'll give me something to do.
Yeah. So there'll be something.
Yeah, but it's been a ton of fun, and like I said earlier, you know, this may be after 250 might be goodbye, but man, maybe not. Never say never.
It might be goodbye in this platform, but there might be other things. Yeah. You know, we'll still have a YouTube channel. Maybe we'll jump on there every once in a while and just be like, hey, let's talk some shit.
Exactly.
And we're still going to go to conventions.
Yeah, we'll still be alive.
Yeah, don't worry.
Hopefully.
Well, yeah. Great. Now you say that, I'm going to fucking die.
Don't.
How's anybody going to hear about my death if the podcast... Hey, if I do die, though, come back and do one more episode and just be like, Brett died. And that's the only thing you say.
Just say that. Hey, if you're wondering why it's just me today, Brett's dead. Let's talk about Husk.
No, just end the episode.
Yeah, I'd be like, yeah.
Just intro. Welcome to the Swearwolves. This is David. If you're wondering why it's just me, Brett died. All right. Well, see you guys later.
Bye-bye.
Don't do that.
I won't. I wouldn't do that.
All right. So the movie I picked this week. David, do you know how I picked this movie?
I do not. I'd never heard of this movie.
Yeah, neither had I. I Googled underrated horror movies. And a list came up, and I was like, I've seen this. And then this movie came up, Husk from 2011.
Now, when you were looking at this list, were you like, I've seen this, I agree, it's underrated, this is underrated, or were you like, bullshit, oh, Husk?
No, I wasn't. I was looking at this list.
Okay.
I wish I had the list up still, but I was looking at the list, and I was like, just Google underrated horror movies, and if Husk is on there, that's the list I was looking at. But anyway, I was like, oh no, I've seen that movie. That movie was good. That movie was all right. I could see why somebody says that underrated. And then Husk came up.
Gotcha.
And I was like, all right, let me look at it. And then I saw the cover art, and I was like, okay, it's about a scarecrow. And then I was like, where is it streaming? And it was on Tubi. And I was like, free.
It's free.
That's
all
even
right,
better.
Cool. Checking all the boxes.
And so I was like, oh, it's from 2011, which is not necessarily a year that we do a lot of.
That is true.
So I was like, well, you know, it'd be nice to get something in the 2000s because we spent a lot of time in the 80s, I feel. And then most recently we were doing some 90s films, kind of trying to get in that decade. And I was like, 2011 needs a little bit of attention.
Doesn't get enough love.
Question for you.
Yeah.
This is not related to horror, but I asked this of my wife and son the other night. What decade since the 1950s has the worst music, do you think?
Music?
As a whole.
God, probably like the early 2000s.
So I said the 2010s.
Yeah, either the 2010s or like 2000 through 2010.
Yeah. So my wife and son both said the 70s. And I was like, are you fucking crazy?
Get the fuck out of here.
So then we busted out a list. I was like, I said to my son, I go, you pull up top #1 Billboard hits from 2010s, and I'll pull up a Billboard top list from the 1970s, and we'll see whose is better. And you want to know what? His was way better because there's a lot of fucking shit disco songs in the 70s.
That's true.
But there was a lot of good music in the 70s too.
Dude, so much good stuff.
All right, so Husk. That's how we came about this. So 2011, the release date is my wedding date.
Oh, happy anniversary.
January 28th, 2011. The very day.
In a way, this movie was a wedding gift.
Yeah, this was like, and the guy who made this movie, his name is Bret.
Bret Simmons.
Yeah. January 28th, 2011, David, what was the #1 movie in the theater?
Dude, you know me, I hate guessing January movies. So I'm going with like maybe a sleeper kind of hit. So I went with the Liam Neeson flick, The Grey.
No. Well, The Grey was that about a wolf?
Yeah, it was like a pack of wolves or something hunting Liam Neeson.
This is equally as much of a movie that I know is just as much about the movie that was the #1 as I know about The Grey. The movie is called The Rite, Rite. I think it's a horror movie.
Oh, yes, that does sound familiar. I haven't seen it, but yeah, that sounds somewhat familiar.
I don't know anything about it. People are probably yelling,
"It's the best movie. You should do that for your last fucking episode." You're like, all right. We'll take suggestions. Shit. Calm down.
Oh, fuck. You know what? By the time this gets released, we might have recorded the last 5. So you can send us your suggestions all you want.
Yeah, it'll fall on deaf ears. Put that right in the trash.
No one sends us suggestions anyway, David.
No, that's true. Or sometimes they do, and we're like, yeah, we already did that one.
What was the #1 song?
I'm going to go with, I do remember this song being popular around this time. So I'm going with Born This Way by Lady Gaga.
No, but that was a popular song, and I really like Lady Gaga. Like, for some reason, like,
no, I do too.
I don't know what it is, but I used to. Well, not used to. When I do go to the gym, I actually listen to Lady Gaga sometimes when I go to the gym.
Yeah, I like some Lady Gaga stuff.
The #1 song was not Born This Way by Lady Gaga. The #1 song was actually Grenade by Bruno Mars. You know that song?
I'm sure I've heard it.
I bought a grenade for ya.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. What am I, Bruno Mars? No, I'm not. Movie was written and directed by Bret Simmons, so we know it's got to be good. Music by Bobby Tahouri. Produced by Stephanie Caleb, Lamore Diamant, Moshe Diamant, and Courtney Solomon. This movie stars C.J. Thompson, Devin Gray, Wes Chatham, Tammin Sursock, and a cast of others that you've never heard of before. The runtime of this movie is 83 minutes with a budget of... What do you think the budget was? I don't have any box office because there was no fucking box office. What are we kidding?
I mean, it's got a small cast. I don't know, like $700,000.
No, half of that.
Oh.
$382,000.
Okay.
All right, I don't have any we've gone on too long with the beginning part, so I didn't put any other.
You don't get any special segments this week, and you'll like it.
You fucking
wonderful,
assholes.
wonderful people who will miss dearly.
All right, so the plot of this movie: we got 4 guys and a girl.
Yep, driving down the cornfields of Nebraska.
And they're just talking shit. They're like, "Oh, we're going up to the lake." The girl and her boyfriend, who is Natalie and Chris, Brian and Natalie, they're asleep. The other 3 guys, Chris, Scott, and Johnny, they're all just talking shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump off a rock.
Oh, you never do. You say
chicken out, you pussy.
As they're driving, all of a sudden the car gets pelted by crows.
Yeah, hitting the windshield.
Like it's raining crows.
It's like fucking Hitchcock's The Birds.
Yeah, and one crow even hits so hard it goes through the windshield. You know how hard a fucking bird would have to?
That's a sharp ass beak.
Yeah,
cut through the thing like butter.
Bullet beak, and it causes this fucking car to go off the road. This guy can't handle his shit, and
he doesn't know how brakes work.
doesn't know how brakes work, and then they run off the road, and they don't like flip or anything. It's just like the car doesn't start anymore. It's like, what?
Yeah, I thought that too. I was like, why doesn't the car work? Nothing happened. The windshield broke.
It's one of those new cars, David, that the windshield controls everything.
Buy American. I don't even know what kind of car it was. I don't remember.
I don't either. It was some kind of SUV.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they all pass out.
Yeah, they're all knocked out from the impact of nothing.
Yeah, they didn't hit anything. They just stopped on the shoulder of the road.
Yeah.
These fucking idiots. And then they wake up. How long have we been out for? And
get their cell phones out. Oh, I don't have a cell signal. Oh, God.
Of course. Oh, and Johnny's missing.
Where's Johnny? Johnny?
She said, as she smiled in a special way. Where's Johnny?
Johnny, she said. Dude, I heard that song at the grocery store the other day. I was like, is this the fucking Short Circuit song?
Yeah, it is. That is a grocery store song if I've ever heard it.
Yeah.
And it's one that I'll fucking rock out to if I'm at the grocery store. I love grocery store songs.
It's the best. Except for like when you hear something that like you like, it just makes you feel old. You're like, oh man, I remember when the song was cool. Now it's a grocery store song.
Whatever, dude. I don't give a fuck anymore. I've accepted my oldness.
Yeah, embrace it.
My gray beard.
Yes.
I don't even fucking care anymore. All right, so they're like, whoa, Johnny. And then they were like, well, Johnny must have gone and get help. And I was like, what a shit friend that is. If all of your friends passed out, you're just going to be like, well, I'm going to go get help.
Maybe he was like, wake up. And they were all like, nope. And he was like, all right, well, I'm going to go for help. Because they're like, oh, he's like a Boy Scout.
Yeah, they say that. Like, you know how much of a Boy Scout he is. He probably went and got help. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, and they see a house out in the distance. They're like, oh, I wonder if he went there.
In the middle of the cornfield. Like, we're talking like there's a cornfield and there's a house in the middle. There's not even a driveway to this fucking house.
Yeah.
That doesn't weird them out. They're not like, huh.
Yeah, that's odd.
That's odd, but whatever. It's Nebraska. Brian, he's like this, don't worry, I got everything under control, babe.
He's the jock. He looks like Paul Walker mixed with like Matt Damon with sideburns.
He kind of does. And then you got the nerd.
Of course, because there's one thing jocks always hang out with. It's nerds. Scott is his name.
Yeah. Scott, he's on the chess team. And they go and they are like, listen, we're going to go get help at this house.
Girlfriend, you stay here with this other guy.
Damn, I found that weird too.
I thought that was strange.
Yeah.
Stay here with Chris. We're going to go get some help.
Yep. And so, because he doesn't want the girl to go with him, I'd be like, why don't you come with me? It's a cornfield. Why?
Yeah, what's the worst that could happen?
Well,
I mean, yeah, that's true.
But in real life, like, I wouldn't be like, you don't have to walk through a cornfield. Have you ever walked through a cornfield?
No, but this movie told me that you get cut up, so you got to wear long sleeve shirts.
Dude, I didn't know that because I used to walk through my neighbors. There was a farm, like, literally right next door to my house. And they grow feed corn for their cows and shit. And I used to walk through that shit all the time.
You get all fucked up?
No.
Oh, this movie's bullshit?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's not, but I don't remember getting all sliced to shit. I remember walking through that shit. And I remember
That's good to know. So if I ever find myself in a cornfield, I'm just going to take my shirt off and stroll through it with confidence.
Yeah, just all naked.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And then come out like you're the children of the corn.
Mm-hmm. With an ear of corn just blocking my
up your butt,
my dick. Yeah. Did I ever tell you about the time my grandpa shoved an ear of corn up a horse's ass?
What? No, say it again.
My grandpa grew up on a farm. So this would have been like probably the early 40s. And he was like, my grandpa was kind of a bad kid and got into a lot of trouble and did a lot of awful things. And every once in a while he'll tell me. But he's like, one time he was just bored because he's like, dude, we lived in the country. There's nothing to do. And he's like, hey, like, he goes to his brother and he's like, I'm going to take an ear of corn and shove it up this horse's ass. And he did. He's like, and that horse took off running. He's like, and ran around bucking for like, several minutes. And then eventually just kind of sort of pooped the corn out.
All right. That's like animal abuse.
I know,
David,
I'm sorry.
But it's kind of funny.
It's only funny because it was a long time ago and that horse is very dead by now.
Yeah.
Now we can laugh.
Horse isn't dead? What if that horse
It's
isn't
like the
dead?
Lincoln assassination. We can make jokes about it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The late, great Abraham Lincoln.
Late Honest Abe. Oh God. But they start walking through that cornfield, and Brian and Scott, and they find like an old ass car in the middle of the field that's just like rusted out, and then a bunch of dead crows around that car, and like, oh, that's weird.
Do you know that just got me remembering that farmer's field? Like me and my friends, we found like old rusted cars in the middle of farmer's field. It's like they would drive them out there and just like leave their old cars there. Yeah, that is weird. Man, I should have been more scared.
Yeah, if you'd seen this movie first, maybe you would have been like, "Oh fuck, I'm not."
This or like Jeepers Creepers or some shit. Like, probably would have scared the shit out of me. But anyway, yeah. So they see that. Meanwhile, Natalie's back at the car, and she finds a sign, and on the sign it says Genesis 4:11, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Some verse that I didn't look up.
I was going to say, do you know what Genesis 4:11 is?
Nope.
Genesis 4:11 talks about Cain and Abel.
Oh, okay. I do know a little bit about that story.
So Cain and Abel were the only sons of Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
And then Cain killed Abel.
Yeah.
Because he was jealous.
Terrible.
And then
I get it now.
Genesis, yeah. There's a lot to get, David. Genesis 4:11 is that God basically punishes Cain,
right,
and tells him that he's got to live forever with the mark of like adulterer on his dress.
Yeah, or the scarlet letter.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, well that makes sense now.
And he's gonna walk the earth forever. He doesn't die.
Right.
So like theoretically, like Cain is either a vampire or he's Bigfoot.
Big fucking zombie or some shit. Bigfoot.
That's my theory. Cain is Bigfoot.
Checks out.
Yeah, so that's the story of Cain and Abel. That's been your religious lesson for today.
There you go.
Dominus Sanctus Spiritu. And we'll move on. So she finds that sign, and so you got to know that or at least look it up.
And then Chris and what's the other guy's name? Scott. They've also find a scarecrow like while they're out looking at that car. And as they get closer to the house, because the one guy crawls up onto the scarecrow to like see like, hey, how close are we to that house? Because like the corn's taller than they are. Like, are we even going in the right direction? And they look and it's like, oh, okay, the house is over there. And he sees a light turn on upstairs. So he's like, okay, so somebody's home. So let's go check it out.
Natalie also finds a scarecrow at the edge of the cornfield. Like halfway
yeah, because
out.
she sees a guy. Like she sees a person standing at the edge of the cornfield. She's like, hey. And she like goes to check, and then all of a sudden that person runs away. But then she finds a scarecrow laying on the ground.
And she like opens its mask, and there's like human teeth in it.
Yeah, and she's like, oh shit.
And the other guy who's with her, fucking Chris, he's like, oh, don't worry, whatever.
Yeah, his reaction where she's like, is that a person under there? And he's kind of like, I don't know, it stinks. It's like,
it smells like shit.
Look, take the mask off. Confirm.
I'd be like, why don't we just walk down the road?
Yeah.
Like, fuck this. Let these two goofballs try to do this. You're
do
mine
the universal
now,
I need help thing, pop the hood, and then just stand on the side of the road with an aloof look about you like, whoa, car's not working. Somebody help me? But yeah, they go to look for them, and that Chris guy follows.
Scott and Brian, they make it to the house, and they go up into the...
Yeah, they let themselves in, as you do.
Yeah, it's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, right? And they're like, this house, nobody lives here. And then they hear noise upstairs, so they go upstairs.
Dude, I also thought that was weird. Like, nobody lives here. You just saw the light turn on, like, not 2 minutes ago. You know somebody lives here.
Okay, what I want to know, though, David... Okay, spoiler alert. I'm going to get ahead of us real quick.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Who gives a fuck? This movie is Husk. You're not going to ever see it. Don't worry. But the light turns on, right? This is a supernatural movie. These are like ghosts kind of thingies.
Yeah,
spirits.
I guess so.
They're paying the electric bill?
Who's paying for the power?
You don't get that shit for free.
Yeah.
Maybe they got a candle, but they're lighting matches? They're not lighting anything because they go up there and they see this room, and their friend is sitting there at a sewing machine, an old school sewing machine, like kind of like...
Yeah, it's got the foot pedal.
Yeah. And he's got nails, like hammer and nails. He's got nails in all of his fingertips.
Yeah.
And he's sewing like burlap sacks together.
Yeah, and his eyes look like, we mentioned Icky earlier in the podcast. It looks like my dog before she died. Got the cataract eyes.
Oh, Icky.
Oh.
He's like sewing together, and he finishes his mask, and he like holds it up. Meanwhile, out in the field,
Oh, we shall say, if we didn't already, that's their friend Johnny that they find.
Yeah.
But he looks like he's dead. He looks like a zombie.
Chris and Natalie are walking through the field, and Natalie gets attacked by something or someone or a fucking scarecrow, and she gets pulled away into the corn. David.
Yes, Brett.
Jumping ahead again, what do we figure out about these attacks? What do we figure out is like there's like the spirit of the kid who killed his brother,
there was
right?
these two brothers. One of them, the dad, like was like the favorite child, and then the other one he like smacking around. And then like in a fit of jealousy one day, the jealous kid like killed the dad's favorite son. So I think the story is that he's basically cursed.
Like Cain.
Because the spirit of the one that he killed, right? Like haunts the premises.
I guess this is where I got a little hazy. So
because that guy ends up killing himself.
So he kills the one and he dresses it up like a scarecrow.
Yeah.
And then that one haunts the field, and then it captures people and kills them, and they take over the job as the scarecrow?
I don't know. Either that or like I know later he like shotgunned himself. So, but I took it as he killed himself because like he couldn't really get away.
Yeah.
Because the brother was like haunting him or whatever.
But that's what I'm saying is like, but they kill people and they make them turn themselves into scarecrows. Right?
But the spirit of the guy can only inhabit one scarecrow at a time, but he can like jump from body to body.
Okay. Question.
Yeah. Why?
Johnny's upstairs sewing something. Okay. So he's putting the burlap sack on. Mm-hmm. So that's where the scarecrow spirit is. Who the fuck attacks Natalie?
Oh, well, doesn't he? She gets attacked after he leaves, right?
No. Because they're up in the room. And they hear her scream, and that's when Brian's like, "Oh fuck, Natalie!" And then he runs out.
Yeah, that's a good point. Something else that confused me while we're going down this road. Later in the movie, it's also established that if you pull the mask off of the scarecrow, it basically dies, and like its power is removed, and then it's got to jump into like a different body or something. But how come when they're sewing the sack, they're not wearing the scarecrow mask, but they seem possessed? Yeah. And also, who determined? Like, did he create his own rule? Like, oh, I can only be evil if I put this mask on.
This is like playing a game. This is like playing a game with a fucking 3-year-old. Like, they don't tell you the rules. They're just like, here's the game.
And the rules are constantly changing.
In their favor.
Yeah. Yeah, timeout.
No, there's no timeout. Yes, there is. Okay, so all of that we just talked about happens. We get the backstory of the kids through little vignettes that we see from Scott, the chess player's point of view, because he sees hallucinates all this stuff.
Yeah, so I was confused on this as well. Like, so does he have psychic abilities, or is the spirit like showing him things? And also, if the spirit is showing him the story, why would you want him to know like your history? Wouldn't you want to keep that to yourself? Because now it can exploit your weaknesses.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And then, so Natalie gets killed and she gets dragged away. And then ultimately she goes up and she starts sewing herself a fucking burlap sack.
Yeah.
But Brian thinks that she's still alive. He's like, if she's still alive, we got to try to rescue her. And the other two are like, dude, she's fucking deader than dog shit. We need to go. They find keys to an old Chevy truck and they're going to drive it off. But Brian's like, give me those fucking keys. I'd be like, fuck you, dude.
Dude, okay. Something else I liked. Whose truck was that?
I don't know.
Like, was the scarecrow guy driving around? Like, was it his truck? Or was it a truck that they stole?
Same person that keeps the power on at this fucking place.
The truck had a cover over it, like a car cover.
Yeah.
Like, so they care about this car. Like, oh, we don't want the paint to fade.
Pristine condition, this old Chevy.
It's an antique.
I like when they find it. They're like, oh, we found this car out there, but there was no keys. And the other guy's like, was it a Chevy? I was like, why does he want to know that? And they're like, yeah. And he's like, pulls out the keys. He's like, I found these. It's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
And everybody knows how to hotwire a car. David, do you know how to hotwire a car?
No, but I thought that too. I was like, I don't know how to do that.
I would not be good in the... Can you even hotwire cars anymore?
I don't know. Like new cars? I don't know. I know I would definitely electrocute myself though, for sure.
Yeah, so you're either going to get away or you're going to die.
Dude, the last episode, if it's just me, I'll be like, Brett tried to hotwire a car and died. The end.
I should learn. There's got to be a YouTube video about how to hotwire a car, right? All right, so all that happens. Brian's like, give me the keys. So they acquiesce, and he goes down in the basement to try to find Natalie. Chris is like, Scott, we got to go. We got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, he's like, if he's not going to come with us, fuck him. Like, we just got to leave. And he's like, no, I'm loyal to Brian.
Yeah, yeah. If anybody could save me, it's Brian. He looks like Matt Damon and fucking...
the late, great Paul Walker. With sideburns.
Abraham Lincoln. He's honest, just like him. Oh, fuck. So he goes down there, and so, God, I keep forgetting these fuckers' names. Chris. They're such basic fucking names. Why do I keep forgetting? Chris, Scott, Brian, and Johnny. Who named these kids? Were they just like, what's the number one name in the country right now? Anyway, so Chris is like, fuck them. He goes out and hotwires the car, and he hightails it through the cornfield. Now, this I understand why the car would have busted, because all those ears of corn in the engine cannot be good. However, it doesn't bust because of that. It busts because something crashes into the windshield.
Yep. Scarecrow. Car won't work now.
Scarecrow crashes into the windshield, like crashes its head through it. It's like beating its head against it. And he's screaming for help. He gets attacked. This is what I didn't understand also. There's 2 Scarecrows now?
Yeah.
Because one...
Yeah,
so
their friend Johnny and the girl, Natalie.
But I thought there could only be one at a time.
But I think they only show one moving at a time. Because, like, remember the one is just laying against the windshield, and then one attacks from the side, and then he, like, fights that one off, and then the one in the windshield starts attacking. So I think they were, like, switching.
So if one is, like, up, the other one is down.
Yeah.
This movie
It's like red light, green light. I don't know.
Mother may I.
Yes, you may.
Of course, Brian, track star, he comes, and he saves... what do you think Brian's event was in track? Decathlete? Is he a decathlete?
Maybe. Or a wrestler, football player.
That's not
probably
track.
Did everything.
Yeah, he probably did do everything. He's like that guy.
Yeah.
I lettered in 3 sports. Fuck you.
Is this where he axes it right in the head?
I think so.
I think
he
so,
does
too.
something. But they go out. He ends up getting killed.
He does, because he sees Natalie, like as a scarecrow, and he's got a shotgun that they found, and he's getting ready to shoot her, and he's like, I just can't do it. And he like puts the gun in, he's like, Natalie? And she kills him.
Natalie kills him. And he goes up to make his mask now. And Scott has figured out, he's like in chess. Of course, he's got to have the fucking nerd monologue where he's like, oh, I'm on the chess team and brains always out smart brawn, guys. But he's like, in chess, you sacrifice your pawn. And while your pawn's doing this, your other pieces advance. And I'm like, well, I don't know if that's exactly how it works, because they can see you advancing your pawns and you can only go one at a time. Yeah. But okay, if that's the analogy you want to use. So he's like, while he's busy making the mask, we escape, because he'll be tied up doing the mask. And
because he can only get in one body at a time.
Yeah. It's like, okay. So that's what led me to go, well, then who the fuck attacked Natalie? Was he like going back and forth really quick?
Like he's very fast.
But so they go run, and of course Scott can't run because he's a nerd, and he's all
yeah.
They should have made him have
They established a couple
asthma or
times that his cardio sucks. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
You've been running for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Betsy fucking Ross is upstairs sewing at the speed of light, because he like immediately comes down there and gets him.
Yeah, he does. So they split up, and Chris is like, I'll go this way, you go that way. I'll see you at the road. And it's like, no, you're not going to.
No, you won't.
Because no sooner does he say that and they split up than Chris gets attacked by fucking Betsy Ross and pushed into a stump, and the stump goes right through him.
Yeah, like impaled or something on a post.
And then
but as he like gets impaled, he pulls off Scarecrow Brian's mask, and then that makes him die, I guess.
Limp dick.
Yeah.
He's all, I don't got a boner. Scott goes running, and he makes it to the edge, and he's all...
He gets knocked out and then strung up.
That happened earlier.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, you fast forward.
That happened earlier. We skipped over
fuck that shit. But yes, he gets to the edge of the cornfield.
And he like passes out, like, not passes out, but like falls down, collapses. Like me when I ran the mile when I was 12.
When you did the fucking turkey trot for Thanksgiving.
My side hurting. I'm all.
Yeah, he can't speak because we see another car pulls up and they're checking out the broken SUV and they're like, I think they got flashlights or whatever, like searching, like, oh, does anybody need help? What's going on? And he's like, he can't speak. He's just bellowing.
Yeah. And then a scarecrow comes up and like looks at Scott on the ground, and then he just kind of collapses down into nothing, which I don't know. Was he trying to lure them over?
Yeah, I think he was playing dead, so like the people would come over to the scarecrow. Yeah.
Which they do. And they're like, oh, hey, buddy, you need some
and
help
I like that. I do like that when they shine the light, they're like, oh, hey, buddy, you okay? Like, we don't know, like, were they talking to Scott or were they talking to the scarecrow?
Yeah. And then it cuts to black.
We'll never get the answer. Unless they made a Husk too.
They did not.
Ah, for shame.
For reasons, David. There's also reasons why we haven't heard from Brett Simmons since this movie fucking came out.
Was this his only movie?
Yeah, that I know of, yeah. I didn't look him up on IMDb, but he had no Wikipedia page. Do you want to go first?
Sure.
Or do you want me?
Yeah, when you picked this movie, I was like, oh, a movie I've never heard of. Awesome. I can't wait to see it. I'm sure it's really, really great. But there were a lot of things like we talked about that I just logistically didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I had lots of questions, but at the end of the day, I really didn't care what the answers to those questions were because it just wasn't a good movie. Okay, here's one. So this whole movie takes place in one night, basically.
Yeah.
All the attacks happen in the cornfield, right? Is there any attack that happens in the house?
No.
I would have just stayed in the house and waited till morning, but that's just me.
Yeah. I suppose that.
But then we wouldn't have a movie.
Answer. Yeah, that's an answer. I thought about that too. I'm like, when's it going to be morning? Like, it's been dark for a long time.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Does that stop scarecrows from attacking? Maybe the crows actually would attack them.
Maybe.
Because why did the crows attack
I was
their
wondering
car?
about that too. Like, were the crows trying to warn them? Like, don't... Well, no, because maybe they were in cahoots. Because the crows were like, crash your car here next to this... Maybe they were like, no, don't go into this house. Oh, shit. Well, I'm sorry. I feel somewhat responsible for the predicament you're in now. Well,
they really work. We are scared.
I don't know. As far as things I liked, though, for a low-budget movie, lots of times movies that are set entirely at night, it's really hard to see what the hell is going on. And I thought from like a cinematography, like the way the film was shot, I think it was very easy to see like what was going on. I wasn't lost. I was lost plot-wise at times, but not visually. And I thought there was some good moments of tension, and there were some jump scares and stuff. And I think they did a decent job with not a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
And while I found all the characters to really just kind of be your typical horror movie cliches, I didn't really have a problem with the acting. I thought the actors were just fine. Yeah. So overall, I actually liked this movie more than I thought I would. Like, I thought this was, for me, I thought this was going to be like a half Pamela Voorhees Head kind of movie. Mm-hmm. And I actually kind of enjoyed it. I wouldn't watch it again, but it wasn't the total pile of dog shit that I was expecting. So I'm going to go 2.
All right. Now I will go.
Now
I'm gonna
turn.
Read you. I'm going to read you exactly what I wrote immediately when this movie ended, okay?
Yeah. You're like, I'm ending this fucking podcast.
Tell David.
Time of death. You checked your watch. You're like, all right.
1 Pamela Voorhees Head. I mean, I don't even know why I'm giving this a 1. I should give it a 0 and call it a day. The plot was pretty dumb. There's really no likable characters in as far as we never even meet them or get to know them. I would have liked it better had one of them at least been despicable, like have the guy who quote unquote survives have trapped his friend, like sacrificed him in order to save himself, kind of like the Blob scene in Creepshow 2.
Yeah.
The whole Cain and Abel thing was dumb. I would have liked this movie better had they not been supernatural and just been some hillbillies who dressed up as scarecrows and killed people. Or make the supernatural aspect of it better, because this was dumb. Fuck it. Fuck it. 0 Pamela Voorhees Heads.
Oh, you changed it.
This movie is a fucking turd.
Oh, that's wonderful. So that's a 1 overall. All right. Wow. Did you like that there was no, like, the final girl was a guy? They killed the girl off. She was like the first one to go.
I didn't care. Yeah. Here's my problem.
Yeah, I didn't care either.
like none of these characters were likable, and I don't mean that they were unlikable. I just mean like there was no aspect of
just
them
there.
that they were just boring.
Yeah.
2-dimensional. One-dimensional. They were just exactly what I said. Like, I thought at the end they were gonna surprise me and have that guy be like, oh, like in chess where you sacrifice somebody. I thought he was gonna sacrifice his friend, so his friend would get possessed and he could fucking hightail it out of there. And right when he got to the end, he'd be all, and then the friend comes and kills him. That's a better ending.
Yeah, and he looks at the camera and goes, checkmate.
Yes.
And you go, oh, shit. Fucking Husk. Yeah.
When's Husk 2 coming out? That's a better ending, David. That would have prevented me from giving this
There
0.
you go. I actually agree with you. Yeah.
Get Bret, what's his name? Bret
Simmons?
Singer?
Simmons.
Bret Simmons. Get Bret Simmons on the horn, David. I'm sure you could. Just call down to fucking Krispy Kreme. He's probably working the late shift. Fuck. So that gives it 1 overall. That's about right, actually.
Yeah, I could live with that.
Because you overrated it and I probably underrated it. It is underrated.
Well, it sounds like you were expecting it to be better and I was expecting it to be worse.
Yes.
And we were both wrong.
That is true. And we're both wrong. It was just, I mean, 1 out of 5, that's like, if you got that score on an SAT, you're not getting accepted into like fucking any school.
Yeah, no.
Like bartending school doesn't even accept you at that point. If you guys have seen Husk and you want to tell us about it, you know what? What's the fucking point? There's only 5 episodes left. So
we still want to hear from you.
We do still want to hear from you, and you can contact us for the time being. How can they contact us, David?
For now, we're on the following platforms. Twitter, Facebook, the Slasher app, TikTok, YouTube.
Are we on the Slasher app? Okay, time out.
Yeah.
Do you post on there?
Like once a month or so. Every other month. I don't know. Well, same with like TikTok. When was the last time you made a TikTok?
Oh, God, years.
But we have an account.
8 years ago. Yes, we do have a TikTok. We have TikTok and we have Slasher, and I've never been. I don't go on TikTok anymore.
Yeah, I don't either.
Because that shit would consume me.
And I'm about to mention Hive. I think we've made like 1 or 2 posts.
I do go on Hive every once in a while just to check and see if anybody's posted anything. Because that was like, Twitter's owned by Elon Musk.
Yeah.
It's a ghost town.
Yeah, that was what we set that up when, the big rumor that Twitter was going under. So I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then it didn't. So I was like, whatever.
Realistically, you contact us through
Twitter,
Instagram. Twitter
and Instagram are your best bets.
Also email.
Yeah.
And YouTube. I guess you could go on YouTube.
Yeah, and that email address is contact@theswearwolves.com.
Oh,
yeah.
You can call us.
That's true. You can leave us a voicemail, 623-282-1851.
And that number will be always.
Should be.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that doesn't cost us anything. We can have that be the Swearwolves hotline forever.
I just have to remember to like recertify it every 60 days or so. And Google's like, hey, do you still use this? No one's called you in a while. And I'm like, hey, fuck you. People call us all the time. I got a line of solicitors that want to sell me shit.
You know what'd be great is we just have that be the hotline, like after 250, we just post it up on the splash page of the website. So when people go there, just be like, do you want to vent about anything? Just call this number, because only you and I would hear it. Like, we wouldn't post it anywhere.
Yeah.
I just want to hear people vent about shit.
You want to scream into the void? Do it right here.
Oh, fuck. Anyway, that's that. For the Swearwolves this week, I'm Bret.
I'm David.
T-minus 5 to go.
Oh, shit. think I've lost my connect. Oh, there you are.
Hello?
There you are.
I'm back. Yay.
Okay. Yeah, kind of. You're frozen, but I can hear you.
Okay. Can you see
There
me
you
now?
are.
Am I moving
I can see you now.
Hello?
Yeah, you're moving. Woo.
Okay. This is another reason why you could keep this in, because this is another fucking reason why I want to stop doing this shit. Because every time we do this, it's like gotta be over an internet connection that is so shitty because I'm in a fucking attic.
The internet gods are trying to tell us, and like, end this fucking show.